Welcome to the Audible program of the Atlanta Concert Band's March 2019 performance. This performance celebrates the cultural influences that help shape the unique American sound. On the front porches, in the back rooms, on the prairies, and in the fields, sounds of struggle, spirituality, and triumph reverberated throughout the land. As a new nation struggled to find her way, her diversity became her identity. She welcomed the tired, the poor, and the huddled masses who yearned to breathe free. She did not discriminate on origin or style. Marches, polkas, spirituals, and folk songs were all her children and held a special place in her heart. Released from the horrors of the First World War, a new movement was underway. The music from the Romantic period and the marches began to merge with the spirituals and folk songs of the nation. The musical transformation continued with the blues and ragtime, giving birth to a new musical offspring. Its name was jazz. These new harmonies began to define the musical DNA of this growing nation. The composers of the early 20th century would prove to be the architects of this uniquely American sound. Copland's Lincoln Portrait reminds us that struggle and triumph are part of our heritage. This concert piece contributes to the Copland tradition of bringing the sounds of the American people to symphonic work. He has a unique talent for elevating the harmonic qualities of ordinary folk songs in a dramatic way. Copland does so without losing the soulfulness and relevance of the original melody's intent. His decision to include the narrative in Lincoln Portrait provides a hyper-resonance that cements the historical importance of this period piece. Freedom to pursue a life free from persecution, religious and otherwise, are the cornerstones of this nation and in many ways the core of our identity. The importance of spirituals in our musical lexicon cannot be overstated. These provide hope and optimism during periods of despair and are a reminder that we are only participants in a much larger plan. Kol Nidre is but one example of how faith helps to define our musical identities. Max Bruch's composition of Kol Nidre was based on the Kol Nidre melody chanted by the cantor immediately prior to the sunset of the evening of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, to usher in the most solemn day of the Jewish year. At the beginning of the 20th century, the New York Hippodrome was considered one of the true wonders in theater architecture. Its stage was 12 times as large as any Broadway stage and could host over 1,000 performers, or a full-size circus. This grand spectacle was testament to the optimistic adolescent years of our new nation. No surprise that Sousa would compose a circus-style march to commemorate this grand stage and the humble taste of its patrons. In more recent times, almost a century after an era romanticized by the dime store detectives and the crime thrillers of film noir, noir fantasy strives to capture the dramatic dissonance of the period. The music represents the struggle between good and evil, with the laid-back jazz that presents the dark side of the seedy metropolis, with its speakeasies and bootleg liquor. Thyson's rhapsodic composition blends the classical sound of the late German Romantic period with the modern 20th century harmonies found in jazz. We hope you enjoy this afternoon of music. The first half of the program will include Esprit de Corps by Robert Jager, Clarinet Candy by Leroy Anderson, Kol Nidre by Max Brooks, arranged by Maki Kimura, with a soloist Brandon Taylor, Noir Fantasy by Alan Thyssen, The second half of the program will consist of New York Hippodrome by John Philip Sousa, Bashana Haba'a, arranged by Lloyd Conley, Lincoln Portrait by Aaron Kopler, arranged by W. Beeler, narrated by Diane Knight, Chromatic Gallop by Franz Liszt. We hope you enjoyed today's performance, and we're always interested in your feedback. At the end of your concert program is a survey. We welcome you to complete that survey and send it to us. Thank you very much.